Hi there, it's Azure Factual here, and this is another video for Successful Property Investment Secrets. I'm stood here outside the lovely, I don't know if you can see that, the lovely BMW Ocean BMW in Plymouth. We've just had a fantastic networking, property networking meeting, and I just wanted to record this sort of quick video before we're sort of done for the day, and just go over the sort of three biggest kind of big tips that I learned from this Plymouth Property Investment Group networking meeting that we had today. So it was hosted by a guy called Angelo Sanders, who was a very good speaker. One of the biggest things that I kind of noticed in terms of what's happening with landlords and property investors is, as you probably know, there's been a bit of attack on sort of the government's attacking landlords. They're certainly making the things a lot more stricter and things like that moving forwards. And one of the things that they were talking about at the moment was the scrapping Section 21. So if you're a landlord and you want your property back from your tenant at the end of their tenancy, you have to issue them with a 2-month notice called a Section 21. That legally allows you to take possession back of your property. But when Labour gets involved in charge, one of their Housing Act things at the moment is to actually scrap that rule completely. They also want to do something called, they want to introduce 3-year tenancies and things like that, which is going to be interesting for those people who are doing maybe HMOs and multi-lets, and see how 3-year tenancy, mandatory minimum 3-year tenancies, is going to work out. And they also mentioned that Jeremy Corbyn, in his infinite wisdom, is going to start backing things like tenant unions. So tenants will have even more rights and even more power over sort of landlords. So things are looking pretty challenging for private landlords at the moment, so it's even more of a reason for you to attend networking events like this and become a member of your NLA, National Landlords Association, things like that, so you can keep your finger on the pulse. So it's really important to actually see what's going on, and that's part of why I'm making this video, to kind of give back. And if you're watching this, hopefully it'll, and you're not aware of some of these changes, hopefully it'll spark something in you to go and seek further information and find out exactly what's going on, to protect yourself down the line so you don't get taken advantage of by your tenants and things like that. And one of the other things that I found quite interesting about today's talk was they talked about the right to rent check. So if you've got a new tenant coming to one of your properties, as you know, you need to conduct the right to rent check to make sure they have the ability to rent a property from you. If you don't, you can be opened up to all sorts of fines. Well, apparently there's about 42% of landlords, according to a survey, that are basically landlords are getting more and more scared of renting to non-EU citizens. So if you don't have a British passport, for example, 42% of landlords are getting scared to actually rent to you, because if you're a tenant without a British passport, then you could be opening the landlord up to some liabilities they're not interested in getting involved in, and massive fines. So that was quite interesting. What you do for your right to rent checks and things like that, are you prepared to take people that are not EU citizens, that don't have British passports and things like that, and how is that going to impact on the rental market with regards to when Brexit comes in? There was another survey that was done, and by Savills. They conducted a survey of their own, and they basically said at the end of their survey, they just think that all of this Brexit thing is just going to be like sort of Y2K. So there's a number of investors. I remember recently in the last 2 weeks, someone reached out to me and asked my opinion on what I thought in terms of Brexit, and I just said, the UK is an island, the population's ever growing, people are always going to need places to live. So if you buy with a long-term strategy and you're looking to buy and hold, so long as the rental income covers can service the debt on the property, it's a long-term game anyway. So Brexit for me doesn't really matter too much. Just buy in the right location with high rental demand and go that way. And that was kind of backed up and kind of by the information we've got today at today's property investment group meeting. PIG, and to find out that the Savills have done their own survey, and they feel like it's going to be like a bit like Y2K, when they said the world's going to end and all planes will be falling out the sky and stuff like that, and it never really happened in the end. It was just like a damp squib, as it were. So people feel, Savills feel it's going to be the same in terms of Brexit as well. We had a mortgage update by 360 Mortgages. A guy called David Agus was there, and basically, one of the things that he pointed out, which I thought was really pertinent, was that with the changes on the 1st of October, which is this new HMO licensing rule that's actually come into place, there's going to be the council actually, when you submit your application form for an HMO license, the council's actually going to be writing out to the mortgage lender. So if you don't have the proper product in place, your proper mortgage product in place, that so your mortgage provider knows that you'll be renting as a HMO commercial product, almost, as it were, an HMO product, as opposed to just a multi-let, which is generally people sharing accommodation on a joint AST. So you know, you could then be in breach of your mortgage. They could then write to you and say, look, we were calling in the loan, you have to pay us back the money, you know, sell your house, basically, that type of thing. So it's important for you to be proactive, contact your lender and make sure that you're on the right mortgage product. So that was one key takeaway. Another key takeaway is there are a number of HMO products out there that are between the 3 to 5% interest rates and loans to value of up to 80% loan to value at just 3 to 5%. So, and that's on a 2 to 5 year fixed rate. So if you're looking at buying and you want to get an HMO and things like that at the moment, that you know there are things out there, products available out there that you can get as low as 2%. And in fact, we were given a number of examples of places where they were getting it less than 2%. I think there's 4 major lenders that are actually doing it at the moment. I'll try and leave links below this video, but there's about 4 major lenders. Oh, my alarm's going off there. But there's about 4 major lenders that are actually doing interest rates on HMOs, specifically for first-time landlords, HMO landlords. You can actually get some good rates on there. So you can get some good, so that was a separate thing. You get some good rates as a first-time HMO landlord, and separately, if you're just a regular HMO landlord, so you've got like maybe 10 properties or more type of thing, you've got experience and things like that, you can actually find lots of interest rates at the 2% mark. And then lastly, we had Plymouth City Council, a member of Andrew from the Plymouth City Council, come to us to talk about the actual different HMO regulations in place. One of the things I actually posed to him as a question was, different councils have different HMO regulations. What is the regulation in Plymouth? And he basically said, first of all, there's a risk assessment that they do, like you walk around the house and you see what the risk assessment of the property is. Falls, trips, is there a banister there? Is there a fire hazard there? Things like that. Then the next level is going to be sort of HMO kind of related stuff. So you're going to have, whether you're going to have fire blankets in the place and things like that. And then the next level is if you need an actual HMO license, because perhaps you're on 3 floors where you need emergency lighting and category D smoke alarms and things like that. You can look at the LaCour's handbook and things like that as to what that is. Specifically, he said, look at the back of the LaCour's regulations. They'll have examples and you can base yours on examples. The brilliant thing that I did kind of take away from that is there's no fixed agenda like you must have this as a minimum HMO in Plymouth. So what I mean by that is if you've got if you're one of those landlords in Plymouth that had 5 or more people sharing accommodation, you now need an HMO license if your property's in Plymouth. The good thing about that is there are some councils that will say you need to have 30-minute fire doors with 30-minute burn times, intermittent strips, automatic door closers and all things like that. There is no actual specific thing in Plymouth. So in my humble opinion, this isn't advice, this is just, you know, you should seek advice as you see fit, call up the council and speak to them directly. But my takeaway from that was, so long as you do your property up so it's fit, safe and proper, you'll be okay. So that means you want to have good solid doors. You don't necessarily need automatic closers if you're just on a 2-story, 5-bedroom HMO, as it were. And but what you definitely need is smoke detectors on the first floor, on each floor of the property. You definitely need that. I would say go as far as fitting mains link smoke detectors in there. It sounds like you can do it. You could get away with doing it with the wireless ones as well, because there's no specification when I asked him about that. And again, this is something that you would need to speak with the council and research yourself specifically, but I'm just kind of giving you a general update. And the general update and feedback that I got from today was that there was no specific minimum set of requirements. The only minimum set of requirements are the ones that's introduced by the government, which is minimum room sizes. And basically, if you're doing shared accommodation, then you want something that's got 6.51 square metered. For a single occupancy. For a couple, I believe it was in the it was 10 point something, and I'll leave the actual measurements probably below this video as well. And then there was another set of measurements for people that for children, like sort of sort of under 10 and things like that. But given that most people actually renting property that I know of, or most of my portfolio at least, is regards to professionals and sort of HMOs and things like that, I don't have that information to hand. The main thing that I got to hand was, if you're renting to a single person, the minimum room size is 6.51 square meters. If you're renting to a couple, then it needs to be a minimum of, I think it's 10 point something square meter. I'll look that up. I did make it in my notes and I don't have it directly to hand, but those were kind of the major takeaways when it came from today's event. So my name's Azir Factor. I'm a property sourcer based in Plymouth in Devon. I find investment properties for myself and my clients all over the country really, and if you'd like more information, then you can check out my Facebook page, where I do a series of lunch and learn lessons every day between sort of 12 and 1. Usually we kick off about 12:15, and it's just free information like this, free videos like this, and on a topic that is useful, and I give information that's actionable as well. So you can check that out on my Facebook page at facebook.com/meetazueffactual, and again, I'll try and leave a link below, but you can just put that into Facebook, Meet Azu Effectual in Facebook, and then you'll come to my page. Alternatively, you can check out all of sort of social media, YouTube, Facebook and things like that, and go over to Successful Property Investment Secrets, or over to our website, successfulpropertyinvestmentsecrets.com, for more useful information and content. And that's sort of it for now. So thank you very much for taking your valuable time and watching this video, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. If you've liked this video, please do give me a thumbs up, because it helps me realise or know to make more videos like this. And if you know someone that might be interested in property investing or growing their portfolio or anything like that, make sure you share this video with them, or even tag them in this video so they can know about it and get some useful, valuable information. That's it for now. My name's Azir Factual. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.